Talking about acids and bases, we have two lessons in ALEF now talks about properties of acids and bases and describe them in details. It's like introduction only. So what are the acids and what are the bases? We already covered that before. We talked about acids. We said that acidic solutions are the solutions that have more hydrogen ions, more positive hydrogen ions than the hydroxide, which is a negative one. We said that the basic ions, the basic solutions are the OH negative or the hydroxide. So the hydroxide in basic solutions should be more than the positively charged ions. The hydroxide is negatively charged. Okay. Let's have just like introduction as experiment here. Let's check now the pH. The pH of water is 7. And talking about pH, we will study what is pH later on. This is a scale to know whether we have acidic or basic solution. If you have 7, this means neutral, like water. Look at the acidic ones. You have 2 and 4.5. They should be less than 7. This is why we call them acidic. So if the value of pH is less than 7, between 1 or let's say 0.1 until you reach 6.99, is going to be called acidic. If you have water, we say it's neutral, pH equals 7. Now let's check now the base. The base should be opposite of acid. So it will not be less than, it should be more than. So more than 7 for a strong base, 12, weak base, 9.5. Okay, can we see the solvents? Yes, we can see that we have acidic, basic, and the water itself. Okay, if you want to see the values, the graphs, you can see that. But at this level, you still don't understand what are these values mean. Okay, we can go back to this whenever we go to pH lesson. Okay, fine. Just C molecules without solvent, which is good for you to understand the concept of acid and base. The main concept here is looking at physical and chemical properties. It's mainly about pH scale. Okay. OH negative is more than the positively charged ions. The OH negative is more, which means you have base. So we have two indicators to know that this is acid or base. The first indicator is pH. Second indicator is the ions. So let's see this. Also, this one has more of the blue compared to the positively charged ions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So concentration of blue is more than concentration of positively charged ions. Go to the acids. C. Strong acid has a lot of hydronium ion, H3O positive, a lot of positively charged ions. This is why I will call it what? Acid. The pH is the another indicator. Because it's less than 7, I will say it's acidic. What about the weak acids? Sometimes weak acids have hydronium ions near in values of the negatively charged ions because this is reversible, but the strong is irreversible. Strong base, irreversible. Weak base, reversible. So weaks will take reversible and there is equilibrium. But for the strong acids and bases, we can see that it goes in one direction. My solutions, you can create your own solution and see whether it's acidic or basic and work with pH and change the initial concentration, do whatever you want to change. Okay, this is how you study the acids and bases. How do you discover the composition of these acids and bases? Talking about electrical conductivity, or what do we call it? Conductivity. Both acids and bases are conductive. They conduct electricity because they are electrolytes. They are solutions, aqueous solutions. Litmus paper, you can work on litmus paper here and reset and do whatever they want you to do. Check the litmus paper. You can put the litmus paper and see what will happen. Okay. So if we put litmus paper in this solution, if you see it's basic. So litmus paper is what? Blue. Which blue is it? It's almost here. It's almost 10. طيب. Okay. When I decrease the initial concentration, it wants to be around 9. And with 9, this means you will have weaker base. طيب. Look at this now. There is a specific value found at 11, almost 11. Okay. You can check whether you want strong or weak. Let me do the strong one. It goes until 14. And you will never have 14 exactly. It should be 13 point something. We usually do 0.1, which is around 13. If I want an acid, I will see it's going to be red. I will check which red of them is it. I think it's value of 1. Yes. If I want to do 1 here, it should be now 0 color. Let me do this. We'll make it weak, very, very weak. So it's going to be around number 6. Okay, you will not have 7 because 7 means neutral. Okay, so this is a simple concept about picking the litmus paper. Conductivity, you can check. They both are electrolyte. It will conduct electricity for sure. Acids will bases. طيب, strong, you see, they both conduct. Strong will weak. شوف الstrong will give you more. Okay, so it's all about the more number of, or the higher number of ions that are called electrolyte. The more of these ions will give you the more of intensity. Okay, you can check these 2 questions later on. No. What about taste? We talked about the taste of acids and bases. We said acid is sour and base like this soap اللي هو الصابون. It has bitter taste. لو بتقطع من الصابون وبتذوقها لا سمح الله تغلط تسويها راح تشوف انه الطعم سيء جدا. Okay. Reactions with litmus, with metals. Okay, we talked about this yesterday. Acids and metals will give you hydrogen gas. Example is whatever we see in the cars electrodes, because this is made up of lead. Okay, and there is lead inside. Lead يعني رصاص. And it has acid. The acid and the lead will give you salt. This is the salt that you will see. There is hydrogen gas comes out. طبعا not any acid. This acid that is found inside the batteries is very, very, very dangerous. H2SO4 is a strong acid. It's called sulfuric acid. هذا لو جاء لا سمح الله على ايد واحد عادي تذوب بايد الواحد. طبعا لما يكون concentrated مش مخفف. اللي موجود بالباتريز concentrated. عشان هيك بنسمع احيانا بحوادث السيارات اللي هو الواحد الميكانيكي اللي مش منتبه، او واحد مثلا صار عطل بسيارته انفجرت مع البطارية او حاول يبلش بالبطارية يلعب فيها ممكن تنفجر عليه. عشان هيك دائما نخلي الشخص اللي يعرف ومختص ويشتغل عليها. إياك تفتحها هاي البطارية، إذا فتحتها بيطلع عليك السلفوريك أسيد. Okay. Single replacement reaction between acid and the metal, so which means that the metal is going to be replaced with the ion that is found here or with the hydrogen. Actually it goes with the hydrogen. نبدل ال PB مع ال H، ال H بتطلع هون بتصير عندنا single replacement reaction. مش مطلوب منكم كلمة single replacement، بس I'm just explaining this. Reactions with carbonate. Okay. If you have a reaction with metal carbonate, what will happen? Imagine you have an acid, nitric acid, and carbonate, any carbonate, like carbonated limestones. You're going to have the salt, water, and carbon dioxide. So if you see anything related to carbonate, معناته تتكلم عن carbonate that will be analyzed and give you water and carbon dioxide. The reaction with hydrogen carbonates. Hydrogen carbonates are different than the metal carbonate. Metal carbonate فيها Ca metal. Okay. والهيدروجين فيها hydrogen مع carbonate اللي هي like NaHCO3. هاي فيها hydrogen. It's not only with the metal. Okay, this is the carbonate. Carbonate will be CO2. يظل منها 1 oxygen تطلع على ال H اللي بنشيلها من هون. اوكي، فبصير في عندك H2O. طيب طبعا this equation is going to be given if you have anything like this. Acetic acid dissolved in the vinegar reacts with sodium hydrogen carbonate found in baking soda resulting in the production of CO2 gas. اللي بتذكر البيكنج صودا مع الفينيجر، كل الناس بتعرف شو هالرياكشن، بيطلع منه بابلز. هذا هو الرياكشن، هذا اسمه صوديوم هيدروجين كربونات أو صوديوم بايكربونات اسمه. And this is going to be called acetic acid. حط acetic acid مع صوديوم هيدروجين كربونات بيطلع لك صوديوم أسيتيت، بيطلع لك water or carbon dioxide. If we want to practice, okay, classify these properties for acids and bases. Acids react with metals. Acids have more H positive. Acids turns the litmus paper to red. Acids taste sour. All the others will be for base. The base feel slippery like this, like اللي هو شيء بزحلق يعني زي الصابونة. Turns litmus paper to blue. It has more of hydroxide. It tastes bitter. That's good practice. Let's have more questions. So if you have different solutions, acid, base, and this base will be acid here. Okay. Where do we have the neutral? Okay, sorry, this is a tricky question. Red remains red. Red goes to be blue. Blue turns to be red. ما دامها عدلت لونها، تغير لونها، معناها يا أسيد يا بيس. هاي تعدل لونها turns to be blue. This is basic. هاي تغير لونها لشو؟ لون ثاني، معناها blue going to be red turns to red. This is acidic. Solution 3 is acidic. Solution 2 is basic. هاي ظل نفس اللون. This is neutral. طيب لو حطينا البلو ظلت blue, this solution is going to be called what? is going to be called neutral. اوكي، لو ظل اللون نفسه نسميها neutral. متى احنا بنحس انه هاي acidic او basic؟ ما يتغير لونها. So this one was blue turns to be red acidic مبينة. كان لونها أحمر صار لونها أزرق. شو معناها هاي؟ This is basic.